welcome to Your Soul Wisdom, hosted by Yana Amor Manocas. In each episode, we invite you on a transformative journey delving into the profound mysteries and wisdom of the soul. Join us as we explore a wide array of spiritual topics and sacred practices that nurture and heal the soul, from reincarnation and soul contracts to the enigmatic experiences of womb alchemy and astral travel. Our discussions are designed to enlighten, inspire, and deepen your understanding of your own soul's journey. With Your Soul Wisdom, nothing is off limits. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Your Soul Wisdom, where we get to honestly have the time of our lives, right? I mean, the best part of the day, okay? And so today we're lucky enough to be blessed to have Nadine Gilchrist with us. And our topic today is all about journeying. And I feel like a lot of people may not even really understand what that means, right? Because I think if you put it into Google, a spiritual journey is basically anything that connects you to source. But we're really specific in what we're talking about. And so I've had a few journey experiences, not on my own. One of them actually was guided with you, Kylie, where you walked me through a certain scene, and whatever was playing out for me, you were like, would you explain it? You were kind of were you my surrogate? Were you going with me in
my companion?
Yes, exactly. That's a beautiful word, companion. Yes.
Yes. And so, and then a different type of journey that I didn't actually have, but Nadine, you had on my behalf, because you have this beautiful gift where you just I love it. You're I go in the drumming starts and I go into my cocoon and I'm in this little bead and I go down this cauldron and I come out and I'm never in my wildest dreams could I even think that that's what I would be doing. And so you had shared with me how you journey, and I was like, okay, cool. Why don't you journey for me? And it was a specific topic. I had asked you to kind of give me some information on a situation that was going on in my life.
Right.
And so you're like, okay, yeah, no problem. And then I get this beautiful recording and then I get this beautiful artwork. But can you talk to us and share about what your process is when you journey? And kind of if you even want to go into that specific journey, I'm totally open to sharing it, because I mean, it was just so beautiful.
Well, okay, I think the first thing that I want to touch on when it comes to the way I journey, and I wouldn't say necessarily versus how other people journey, but for me, for the longest time, I'm aware that I've done this my entire life, but being an individual who's highly creative, especially in an artistic way, and that's how my creativity comes out, I think I spent a lot of time questioning whether or not what I was actually seeing in these spaces as being real or what I was just making up within my imagination, right? And I felt like that ever since I was very, very young, and it's only been in probably the last 6 years, I would say, when I actually went through my shamanic initiation and realized okay, this is real. This is my stuff. This is the way that I gather, find, collect my information. And so it's been quite a journey for me personally, just finding my way. And I would say it's only been in the last year that I've actually embraced my artistic skill in order to be able to share these messages with people, for myself. So I do a lot of my own recording of my journeys and my own sketches and art that I don't necessarily share, but then sometimes it just comes out of me and I feel compelled to share it in the way that I did for you. And so I don't know, it's kind of bizarre to share, but it just kind of happens. I get into that theta state. I listen to the drumming, and it's just kind of there. And it's really a matter of intention and then just trust. So I've set this intention and I just trust that the information I'm meant to have is going to come to me. And then it's just a matter of me needing to share it. And I think another thing that's really important and why I enjoy doing my artwork is because when I'm collecting this information or I'm getting these visions or I'm having these experiences, yes, it can be for me to interpret, but ultimately the symbolism is also for you too, or for the other. And so the way I might interpret certain symbols may not be the way you interpret it. And so when I'm able to visually put it onto paper as a piece of artwork, then it becomes something completely different. It's not just my vision and my words and the way that I see it. It then becomes a tool for you to use and to contemplate and to further understand in your own way. And so I might have shared in that 20-minute audio clip of exactly what I was experiencing and then put it to paper and drew it the way that I saw it in my head. But maybe you experienced it completely different once you visually got to see it, right? So I could go into further details to how I specifically journey, but ultimately, I think that's quite like a personal thing for me because journeying can be different for every single person. And when we talk about journeying, journeying can also be hypnosis. It can also potentially be meditation. It can be just sitting in quiet, right? Like there is no one specific way to journey. So I don't know. That's kind of
Well,
where I'll leave it for now, but
what's so unique about it too, and Kylie, chime in because I know you journey in your own way too, right? But it's like for me, like I know where my gifts are, ladies. It is not in closing my mind, like concentrating on something and going. It's when I try to journey, I'm always like at the same place doing the same exact thing. It's never like this deep informational like pool of just like wealth of knowledge or like these unexpected information that comes in. It's very much like, okay, girlfriend, you know you're guiding it to go there. You know what I'm saying? And so the way like you guys do it is so beautiful because in my mind I think, how do you even begin? How do you even begin to even tap into I guess like you said, Nadine, that trust or that like I'm just gonna allow it to flow and trust what comes out, right?
mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, I thought I had nothing to contribute to journeying because I'm like, I have never journeyed anywhere. And I'm like, oh, I've actually done quite a bit of journeying, but it's all within friends kind of thing. So I don't know what comes up for me is I find it really difficult to do even with friends. So the ease that these ladies do it with is something else. But I get it, Yana. It's sort of like, I don't know how I would get out of my own way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to completely switch off that analytical mind and actually still have thoughts, visions, or whatever. I don't understand how you disconnect that. So I'm interested if it, Nadine, I appreciate that it's a personal, I don't know, system that you have. But is there something, or is it just the breathing? Or like, I understand getting into different states, but yeah, I'm interested in how, or the first time it happened, or that you realized. Because I imagine once you've done it once and you can keep doing it, but I just can't imagine taking that for, I just don't even know how to jump, let alone take the
I'm
jump.
okay to share. What I mean is that the way I journey might be specific to me and someone else's way of journeying could be specific to them, but that doesn't mean that I'm not journeying or they're not journeying. So I'm just stating that there's a broad spectrum of what people might consider journeying or how they themselves experience journeying.
There is no one way.
Yeah. And so I think one thing that's really important to remember is the way that people receive information. So the fact that I receive information visually doesn't make the information that I get any more important from somebody who might experience it as a sensation or a feeling, right? Because a lot of people don't see visually. It's no different than like your different clairs, right? Maybe some people receive all their information clairaudiently, right? They see absolutely nothing, they feel absolutely nothing, but they're receiving these streams of sound, right? That's still journeying. That's still a process to get the information, right?
Yeah.
Where I think journeying might differ from other ways of receiving information, such as mediumship or channeling or that sort of thing, is allowing yourself to fall into those theta states, right? To drop down and you get into this place in this space, right? So that's why I say it could even be considered like hypnosis, or it could be like that deeper meditation, because you're actually taking your brainwave states and you're dropping them down. So that's where I differentiate journeying from, say, other modalities. I think Kylie and I are similar in that we visually have that opportunity to see what we're experiencing. But Rachel, if you do a lot of meditation and you experience receiving information through those altered states, I would consider that a journey experience, right?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
I was
back in the
gonna
toilet there.
I was about to say, I actually haven't done journeying on my own, quote unquote. I have been with Kylie, and done journeys. And to be honest, I can tap into some of those and project my consciousness there if I'm in the right state. But I do meditate every day, and I do get visuals, and I do feel like I could project my consciousness into those places. I haven't done that because I kind of take them as information. Or, oh, that was fun, I was suddenly somewhere else. So I haven't explored it, but I feel like meditation is a good place to start that from. But I just have to say, I love what you said about imagination, because so many people in the spiritual and healing arts think it's their imagination. And what's the thing that we talk about with kids being so open? They still use their imagination. So I do think as adults we go, our imagination, oh, that's just our imagination. Imagination is everything. It created everything in this world, really. Everything is creative. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you for saying, that because I think everyone needs to know, no, it's not your imagination. It is something magical.
I think that's really important that you bring that up and you mention that in connection with children, because had I maybe had it reinforced to me as a kid that the things that I was experiencing weren't just my creativity or my imagination, right? Instead of somebody saying, well, absolutely, that could be true. Like if you see it or believe it, like it can be truth. It's not just something you're conjuring. And it just reminds me of a conversation I had with my daughter yesterday in the car with her little friend. I had to take them to dance class, and her little friend is also just has the most wildly beautiful little imagination. And she says to my daughter, hey, I was watching this thing about dragons. And then I got thinking a little more about dragons. And Ray's like, oh my gosh, yes, I totally believe in dragons. And I also believe in unicorns and stuff like that. But they don't live in our world. They just live in a different dimension. And then I said, yeah, that's actually true. And then she says to me, well, Mommy, do you know of anyone who knows of some dragons? And I just laughed at her and I said, oh dear, if you knew the things that people knew and the things people saw, you'd have no hesitation in believing. And I want to foster that in her so that if one day, she's like me and she starts having these experiences, it's something that she can fall into and that she can trust and not have to go through this struggle of, well, am I out of my mind? Am I a little crazy? Is it true? Is it not true? Am I just collecting this from places and spaces of maybe dreams gone by or what it might be? And it's like, well, no, like this whole world really does exist. And I feel so blessed and lucky that I'm able to access it the way that I do. But with that said, I also believe that every person has the ability to access this. And it's just understanding that it can take practice, and then it doesn't show up the same way for every single person. And was it Rachel that said that you've had these experiences, but it's been guided through others, or Lauren has been guided through others? I find for me personally, even though I have very profound journeys on my own, when I'm in what I would call a safety state with another, the stuff that I will experience, and I think it's just the way that I'm held, and this is obviously somewhere where I need to work on my own personal expansion. But like with Amanda, I work with Amanda doing Lightbody, that sort of thing. The things that I can so easily drop into and experience when I'm in her presence is just, it's amazing. And a lot of other journeys that I've had that have been really important for me personally have been with the guidance of someone else. One of them was with Kylie. And so I'm maybe realizing that that could be an area where my gifts are meant to go in guiding people. So whether that's through guiding them through journey or through hypnosis or whatever it might be. And I believe that's where I'm aiming to go. But yeah, it's not
so
just...
I think that's an important really point. Interesting
Sorry, Amanda.
Because No, it's okay. I find it really interesting that in the beginning when you said about for you journeying, you drop into a different state. Because I was going to say just before that, can journey be many different things in the sense that sometimes, you set off from your house, you're in the car and you're driving and you're going the distance, could be an hour's journey, and suddenly you're there and you don't remember how you got there because you were just away in your mind. There's a whole other situation or scenario or story, or you're having a whole conversation with somebody in your head that you literally vision this and everything, and suddenly you are where you are.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's journeying. For me, that's how journeying happens for me. And also, like, for me, sometimes I can have, for me, it's a passage of time. For me, I think my journeying happens. It's a passage of time whereby I started off at, say, 9:30 at something, and all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock and I've been elsewhere. I've got all this download of information and I'm sifting through that, and suddenly it's like, and that for me is journeying. I don't know. I don't think I've gone into theta state while I'm driving, because that'd be a bit mad.
But is it where you're projecting your consciousness to? So is journeying your consciousness being somewhere else? Right? That's not present in your body. But we're kind of talking, there's sort of, like Nadine said, it happens in many ways. So she drops into that state and she's very there in the moment and having all the visuals. Whereas your consciousness is journeying somewhere, but you're not at that sort of level or state of journeying.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So there's different states that we go into, isn't it? That you can go into.
What Nadine said, but with other people, I find everything is stronger with others, like meditation or journeying and all of those things. I really do. I understand what Nadine's saying, and that is something for her on her path where she can hold space for someone to do that. But I do feel as though we do create like a bigger battery pack or a bigger ability to do things when we're in a group or we're together. Because, when I go into session with Kylie, boom, I'm there. Like I'm in colors. There's not even solid things anymore, but if I try and do that myself, I can't. Even with mediumship, when we're, practicing and we do our meditation together, I can feel the energy more. So I do think that is something that when we come together, we really heighten all of our abilities, and
it's amplified.
Like that.
It amplifies everything. Yeah.
Everything.
And so I guess as we're sitting here talking, what came to mind was in the beginning for me, when I really stepped into this version of myself, something that I unknowingly started to do was in my meditations, I started moving my body. And it amplified the result or the flow of energy. So it's funny because I don't sit here and go, oh, Bloop, here's all this information that comes in. But I know shifts have been created. I know the energy and the vibration has shifted. And I think before I knew it, like this was all within like a week, as I was moving in my meditations, I found myself, I think the term for it was, I may have mentioned this before, was spirit dancing. I found myself moving my body to just sounds of music, not words, just the sounds of music and the beats and the rhythm. And I remember going, I don't know that I've ever moved this way before. But what's happened was the energy that was showing up in my life following that, every time I did that, was just magical. I really should just, you guys, when we're done, don't call me, okay? Because
But you know what? I thought you was going to say, when we're done, we are going to put on a piece of music and you can get up and move. And I was just going to say, yeah, that's not happening.
But then I was thinking maybe.
I really don't do that. I just, music moves me, and I can listen to, different kinds of music, and it really moves me. And even in my work, meditation and things like that, and you can listen to some stuff and it really shifts you. And I love that. But I'm that person that when I've been on trainings and things like that, when they say, I'm going to put on some music and we're going to shake and loosen up some energy and we just move how you feel and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll meet you on the other side of that.
Yeah, toilet break.
You know what? I find that comment really interesting because I was thinking about this earlier. Like, what points might I want to make or include if questions are being asked. And Amanda, I'm very similar. I do not like to move my body. I would actually like openly admit that I'm highly self-conscious with moving my body. But like even in like the presence of just myself, I don't like to move my body.
No, I love dancing though, and I do dance by
but
myself.
let me ask this question.
But
wait, in those moments, are you still dancing, but just out of the screen where nobody can
Amanda
see
or
you?
me?
Both of you.
Both of us. Both of us want
I'm
nothing
not
to do
dancing.
with this little frame here. Like I'm fucking playing the other room. Like,
okay,
no, I'm not
see me.
dancing. No, I'm
but
not
if
dancing.
the music,
I was just on training the other day, and like, you know, and the teacher asked the students to get up and dance, and to just, you know, loosen up and shake up that energy. And I said, yeah, I said, I'm good. I just sat in the chair and just watched everybody else just do their thing. But I'm not me. I love dancing. I'm dancing with things, but I'm not that, unless, you know, unless we've got a beat going and it's like, you know, but I'm good. I'm there. But if it's just, you know, symbols and that, like bong 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 bong, yeah, I can't really find that. I can find that in meditation in my head, but bong 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 bong, yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, no, I was going to say to you, maybe when you're in that heightened state and you've been spirit dancing, you should try a little journeying yourself.
Yeah, maybe.
But this is the point I was gonna make, is that I like being in my body is like, it's just not, I need to work on it, but it's just not for me. And I often have questioned, maybe that's why it's so easy for me to fall in, because guys, when I journey, I'm just like, okay, it's like I'm home. I'm so far from this earth plane that I can't even begin to describe, right? And then the idea of landing back in my body and this discomfort that I feel quite often in the 3D of just wanting to shed away this heaviness. And ultimately it becomes like a real balance. And when you actually lean into shamanism and the practices of shamanism and what it really means, a lot of it is about being earthbound and connected to the earth and the plants and the animals and everything around us. And that's where the intention and the symbolism that you find out in the ethers, I'll call it, that you bring back with you, that then you really need to focus around you and connect that to the reality that you're in, right? And I think for me, a lot of the time I can get lost in
so then
places that I go to.
But hold a minute, Yana. But Yana, do you ever go into trance? Do you ever think it's a possibility that you go into trance?
I think Yana can do most things she says she can't do. So
yeah,
I'd say
literally, I think she does. I think she goes.
I did that, but I had this experience, and I did that. You know, like
I will fully admit that I.
Yeah, go on.
I do experience a lot of the things we talk about, but because it's not my everyday, it's not something that I snap my fingers and can get into, although maybe I could, who freaking knows. I don't consider it as part of my catalog, and I probably should. What I will say is there has to be some form of trance that happens, because the way my body moves, the way I feel every extension of every limb and just every movement.
Yeah.
The embodiment of that, which Nadine, I think would be so good for you. Girlfriend, I'm always available to just get on a call and we could turn our cameras off and just move our bodies. But because, see, I'm really good at being here and not there. Although in my mind, I'm always up here. Feeling myself in my body feels really good. Even when I don't fully feel 100% confident in my body, dancing in that way really got me to just love every inch. And then, you know, before you know it, you're like staring yourself in the mirror and you're like, who is this person? You know, it's a very surreal, very nice feeling. But, you know,
I get it. I can understand that.
Yeah. And you tap into more of that self-love and like self-appreciation. And you're like, I am just perfect the way I am. You know what I mean? Because how many of us sit here and we can look in the mirror, no matter how perfect we look, we can judge anything. We'll find something to judge. Amanda's like, not me.
No, that's not
Like, what are you talking about?
no. Do you know what it is? I can look in the mirror and I can 100% point out what I don't like or what I want to change or what I know I need to, I need to cut down on. But I'm not a Debbie Downer on myself.
Yeah.
In that sense, And I'm not. I just think, well, that's what I'll say, the Zara mirrors, Zara shop, the Zara mirrors are the worst mirrors in the world.
Why?
What the hell?
Do you think that is? I agree. Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. But
Is
the
it
person I see in the mirror is not the person that I walked into the
different
shop
version?
with.
No. Is it like, what is it a thing? Is it where they go, okay, well, make them feel bad, then they'll buy more to make themselves feel better, even though they feel I don't
It's
know.
the reverse for me.
I don't know. It's silly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't buy anything if I was looking. But Nadine, I did want to talk to you just about the being out in the ethers and that feeling like home and being in your body and having it feel uncomfortable. This might be a little bit of a weird or question, but for me, sometimes the way that sort of presents itself, and the only way I can explain it to people is I just want to rip my skin off. And I don't mean in a way that I want to hurt myself, but it's like I just feel like I need to rip it off. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Because when you spend a lot of your time feeling free of this heaviness, the world, like when I'm journeying, there's no physicality for me. Like I'm not like in my body or my person when I'm journeying. I a lot of the time don't even see myself, but quite often I'm just like light or energy. And that's amazing to think that I'm just seeing my inner self, like my soul, my spirit, right? Versus being here. And then, you literally put on this skin suit. And it's like, oh, here we go again. Maybe that's really a negative way to look at it, but it's hard, and it's almost becomes more difficult the more you practice your spirituality, or it has for me anyway. I don't know if others feel the same way. And you really begin to get these affirmations, and you have these realizations that what you are experiencing, it is the truth, that when it's my time to be done here and I cross over, that's where I get to go back to, and that's waiting for me. And the fact that I can go there now, it becomes quite a temptation at times. And I think I have moments where maybe I'll say things unknowingly, and then someone will look at me and be like, is everything okay? Like, are you sure you want to be here? And it's like, how do you even answer that? It's like, of course I want to be here. I chose to be here. I obviously have a mission I need to complete, but I can't also stand here and deny and not say that sometimes it's real nice to just float away,
It's really interesting that you say that and that we speak on this, because part of the work you do, especially when it is Lightbody work, it's about becoming grounded in the body. It's about becoming sovereign in the body. For the most part of our life, we're at war with our own selves and at war with our bodies. And I think at some point you get to a space and time whereby you have to acknowledge that this is the vehicle that we have here. And this is the vehicle by which we're using to translate everything that comes in. Okay. And it's how do we come to terms with this vehicle, what it's doing, how it works, and nourishing and nurturing it so that we can fall in love with ourselves. And by doing that, when we join this matter with spirit, that's where our power is. That's where it is. It is. That is where magic is kind of, is made.
That's embodied enlightenment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really
nice. I like that.
Anchoring your soul
put it
into the body. Yeah, but that's what it is. It's anchoring your soul into the body. It's. I do often say it's all important. It's all important.
Yeah.
If your body wasn't important, you wouldn't choose to be here in it. So honor all of it. Not one is greater than the other. To truly walk the path we're meant to walk is having it, I don't even know how to say it. It's like playing that symphony together, all of the parts of you to step into your greatness and be your soul walking on the planet to change the world. Right?
Yes.
You know, I think in a private conversation I've had with Nadine, it's funny because we're going back and forth through messages, and the gist of it was, well, we chose to be here. We chose to be in our physical selves, but all we want to do is get into our like spaceship and just be up in spirit world, but which is the complete opposite of being of the physical world, right? And so there is this like battle. And I'll say, like, for me, for years, I would try to meditate, and it would be like 3 minutes in, and my body would get so uncomfortable that I'd have to get out of it. I'd be like, I can't sit in this. And it wasn't until maybe the last year or two where I'm actually comfortably able to sit in that space. And now, like you, I don't see myself physically. I see myself as energy, as the stars, and I'm in the galaxy and I'm doing all these things. But there is this complete tug of war within me of like, get back in your body, you know, which before really diving into this, I had no idea what that meant. I was just like, it was just like an imagination, if you will, of like, this is just how meditation is playing out for me. But my body resisted going into that spiritual space for a really long time. And so it's one of those where we just have to honor it. You know what, for me personally, it was, okay, you know what, at some point I'm going to be able to really sit in that. Right now is not the time. And I'm not going to keep trying to force something that my body is physically trying to fight. And maybe for good reason. I don't know. Maybe I'll be like,
I love what Amanda,
I'll be like, I'm out of here.
I love what Amanda said about Lightbody though, because I didn't quite realize that's exactly what has happened having been through the Lightbody process. I do feel like I embody more of my soul spirit on earth in my body. Like, it really has changed the way I feel about it. I don't know if that's your experience, everyone else, but thanks, Amanda. Thanks for doing that for me.
No,
Yes.
I'm busting to know whether Kylie goes on solo trips.
I do not.
I thought that was going to be the answer. Have you ever?
Yes. Why though?
What's a solo?
Like if she
Like by
She
herself.
journeys
So
with clients,
Amanda
but not
hasn't
by
had a
herself.
session with me, so she doesn't quite know what
This
happened.
we need to change.
Yes.
I think Amanda needs
You need
let's
to
be
get
Let me
Amanda
just
honest.
set you up a date, ladies.
But so there's two things, right? There's an element of surprise. I don't want messages. Very rarely do I want like reading messages. I want to live my experience in the most purest, authentic form I can. And I feel like if I'm like, what's going to happen today? What's going to happen here? What's going on? I'm going to be just living in that mindset instead of experiencing my here and now, right? And going through making mistakes, being human. I want to embrace it all, right? Because this is part of my journey in this lifetime is to embody the emotional, right? I'm looking at you, Rachel. So, you know,
embody emotional.
What, sorry?
Embody the emotional.
But
sorry, I was about to say,
I completely embody my emotions, and trust me, for the safety of the world, that is a good thing that I keep them inside me.
Kylie is the best role model as being grounded and really in her life here on the planet. I've just got to say that.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
I've been given a cheat sheet if you want to access it for yourself, but I don't want to have access to it.
God, I find
that's not what I'm here for.
Fascinating, because
that's not what I'm here for.
See, okay, people want me want that cheat sheet. But what I love what you just said, where you're like, I want to embody the mistakes and I want to take it in as part of the human experience. I think so many of us are trying to, where can I avoid the mistake?
Right. You want to be spiritually perfect. Right.
Yeah, that is why I don't ask the questions. Like when we were first doing, so like the rods, it was like, ask the question. And I was like, yeah, I don't really have anything that I kind of want to know. Back in the day, I did. I can go back, not even like a couple of, where are we now? Probably probably a good few years I've stopped now, good few, don't know, it could have been about 10 years, literally, that I stopped wanting, in a sense, for me, readings to answer questions. When I had the medium reading, it was because I wanted to make contact with my parents. I just wanted to make contact with my parents, and that was it. But if she had asked me, would you have any questions in and of herself, because she was a psychic medium, like readings, I would have been kind of like, yeah, no, I don't really want to know the outcome of stuff, and I don't really want to know things. That's just me.
I don't even think it's helpful to ask all these future questions. Do you know what I mean? Like when I think about all the sessions I've had with you guys, I think, and Kylie and I were talking about this the other day, I'm looking for understanding of myself up to this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not even, I'm not, like, and of course, it's maybe involves some past stuff, but it's understanding now so I can take me into the future. So I totally get it. It would freak me out. I don't even want to know any of those details.
How do you prepare yourself for any
How
of
does
these
it make
answers?
it better?
Exactly. So the only reason I might, and so if I need to tweak something, I'm not going into a journey for myself. I'll be like, something feels off. Got to feel into what it is. Is it external, internal? Then dive into it that way and approach it from where it feels right. Does that make sense? Because my journey thing, when I journey for clients, I don't think I've ever shared this piece of information. This might click with some of you who have done this in the past. So I take everyone into the same setting. It's a beach, because everyone connects to that, right? I make everyone look at their feet because I want them to be grounded and make sure they're grounded in their spiritual space, right? And then you have a choice between going to a rainforest journey or to a cave. The rainforest addresses the third and like crown chakras. So that's that area. That's your ascending things, right? Or if you go into the cave, that addresses your root chakra, your ovaries, your uterus. That is your birthing, your grounding. So wherever you direct me, where you're drawn to go, that's where we get to work on your body. So that's why after those sessions, I often hear people have got headaches, they've got their period. And can I tell you, 9 times out of 10, men will not be drawn to the cave. Unless they're femininely rooted, they will not be in the cave. They will automatically go to the rainforest.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So that, and then from there, we're grounded in those spaces. But from that point, if your body wants to go up and outward and go into light space or wherever you want to go, we'll go there, but it's from that space. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Does that make sense?
Did you ever do any solo journeying yourself?
No.
To not do solo? So it just never happened?
Just now, no, you know what it was? I could probably would if I try, and I kind of wanted to try just a little bit. I've been not drawn to it, just to spite everyone now. No, I'm just
listen. I actually find this interesting, Rachel's question, and then Kylie's answer. So Kylie says, "Oh, I don't journey for myself," like with the whole concept of wanting to get answers, right? Because I think, and maybe this is just my own experience or perspective, but when it comes to journeying, I'm not journeying to necessarily like travel the galaxies or to get some information that is so mystical in nature. But when I think about journeying, it's literally about my own energetic field. And if we're going to expand this into like a larger idea of your soul and your oversoul and past lifetimes and parallel lifetimes and all of these different things, all of this information is readily available to anyone. And for me, journeying is about healing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about like doing a reading for someone or something and going and get this information they've never had that's going to change their life. It's about healing. What do you need to know right now that can already be collected from your energetic field, from your soul? You're not going to be shown anything that you're not meant to see, is my opinion, right? Yeah. That's why intention is so important. And that's why symbolism is so important. Because I wouldn't say that I've had journeys that have been so radical that I've gone and gotten maybe like say like future information that then after X amount of time it like comes to fruition, like you might seek out from like a psychic or a reader or that kind of thing. It's a
But I think it's
very
really important in a
personal.
sense of what you're saying is that it makes a lot of sense because the journeying, I suppose, is about it's about information, isn't it? It's about
It is.
information. You're collecting information in that
Yeah.
person's field, and it also is where somebody is on their own journey.
Right.
That's the
Like, do you
information
think
that
that
you're going in and collecting.
yeah, that I ever would have been able to gain information on Yana just randomly without her having given me a very specific question or intention and going through and just trusting what was coming to me? I had no idea what any of it really meant. I genuinely didn't. And then it was just a matter of me delivering that to her and her being able to decode that. And like ultimately, it could be a little difficult knowing someone personally and maybe what's going on in their life that you don't want information to get skewed or to be muddled. But one thing that I think about is that is vastly important when it comes to shamanic practices and journeying is the idea of soul retrieval, right? And healing. So if you're having an experience in your life and something is feeling radically off or wrong, and maybe it's been like that your entire life, maybe it's something that's new, but there can be fragments of your soul that break off that actually need to come back to you, that you need to go retrieve, that need to be reintegrated again. And that is one thing through journeying that you can do for your own self-healing or for healing of others.
Yeah, beautiful.
Right? And so I think that's why I particularly value and enjoy this method of collecting information. I didn't ask for this. This isn't something I read one day and said, well, this looks like fun. I'm just going to give it a go. It really kind of came to me naturally. And it was over time and through reading and experiencing, it's like, oh, like, I actually think that this is what it is. Like, this could potentially be the way I label it or name it, right? But I don't know if that's true either. Maybe this is just my own unique way and that's how other people label it. I'm not sure. But
do you
wherever
think that,
it's meant to take me, I'm happy to go.
do you think that Kylie and Nadine, that your journeying is your way of reading the codes?
I think so.
What codes? Can you elaborate?
Just
Codes of creation.
Yeah, codes of
Codes
the
of
universe.
creation,
Oh,
like-
the information.
Like
The codes, like we all
the
see
Bank
it
of
very
America?
differently.
No, I'm sorry. 'Cause I would love that. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Okay.
No, but like we all see it differently, just like how Nadine was saying in the beginning, it's very different for her, like how and everybody, just because she does it one way doesn't mean that you're not journeying. Like people may feel it, people may sense it, people may taste it. It's a way of literally that's how you guys read the codes that other people may translate into, say, a feeling, because I will always kind of say I feel when I'm doing stuff. And yet I will say to somebody that I don't know if I actually hear. I don't know if I'm hearing, say, English. I could be actually hearing codes, and it's how my body interprets the field and what I'm translating it, which is why sometimes I would get information which I can't make sense of because my own fourth eye is trying to translate it. It's trying to bring it into my body, into my brain, and translate it in a way that can be understood by, in a sense, the human field. So I'm wondering if that's how you guys, when you journey, you see what you see or you do what you do, it's your way of reading the codes. It's like, like in the Matrix, all those codes are running. You're lot, it's actually, so when we watch the film, the guy's reading those codes and he's interpreting exactly what's happening. He doesn't see what we see, which is Neo and Agent Smith fighting. He's not seeing that. He's thinking, come on, Neo, come on. You got to put some power into that. You got to do. All we're seeing is letters running on the screen. He's not seeing that. He's seeing the actual scene.
Yes. I actually love that you're saying this because I've been curious ever since I had my experience with Kylie. Because it kind of blew my mind. And I think it wasn't until that experience that I finally believed, like wholeheartedly believed in myself, because I'm like, wow, she's guiding me, but me being so used to it, I'm like kind of like bouncing here and there. She's like, oh, like, hang on, I'm coming. And we get there and I'm like, okay, like this is what's happening. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you see that? And she's like, yeah, I see it. And I at one point said to her, I was like, well, can you like, tell me more. Like, what do you see? And sure as shit, she was seeing exactly what I was seeing. And I was just like, it made me really, really emotional because
yeah.
I think a lot of the time people really want to seek validation
Yeah.
through others for themselves.
Yeah.
And this has been a journey that I have been on for such a long time. And to finally have someone say to me, like, I see it too.
Yeah.
It just made me realize that, you know, I do have these gifts that I can share with people. And I'll admit, I was told just the other day, like, Nadine, you either need to shit or get off the pot. Now's your time to do it. And so it's just like, you know what? This is true. So, and bringing through this information into this world to help other people, to help myself, to do what I really need to do. And I think had I not had that experience with Kylie, I might still be in a very like radically different place of, you know, can I trust myself? And so I just find it so interesting that Kylie chooses not to journey for herself, but it's also very empowering for me knowing that like not everything has to be up there. Like it's okay and it's safe for me to be down here too and still be able to receive what I need to receive and help other people. And so it's been something I've been thinking about quite a bit since last time she and I spoke. But yeah, it's just wild that you can take people on these beautiful journeys and have them have these experiences and healing, and it's nothing that you need to have attachment to or like, you know what I mean? It's very...
And I think, and I do appreciate you saying that because it's also validating for me, because a lot of people ask me, why don't you just journey and tell me what happens? And I'm like, no, I need you to journey and I'm just there overseeing you because you need to experience this. You need to see your loved one. You need to get the symbols and you decipher them for yourself. Like, I'm not doing the work. You do the work.
I know. When I first did it, I was like, Kylie,
I know. Just tell me
I
what
just wanted
this
to
means.
lie down here and I just wanted you to give me some information.
No.
I learned very quickly that was not happening.
That's not how, no, you will be doing the heavy lifting. And you know why I tend to not, a lot of people that come to me also have a lot of weird, dark things going on. And I think that if I was to go straight up like Nadine does, I wouldn't be able to access that dark element within their healing that needs to be taken out. So that's why like we operate very differently from our energy sources with that aspect, because I would never send someone in alone into the space that we start in, because you could get yourself into trouble. I'm just there with my sword vanishing stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know. I'm functioning okay without having to. I don't meditate. I drink Diet Coke. I'm a terrible example.
You are so good at being human.
You are like should be
so good at being human.
I'm just I am here for I'm Team Rachel, human experience, whoop whoop, right?
Yeah. Look, honestly, if we're all been here for eternity, I don't even know why you guys want to rush through the human experience. Do you know what I mean? Like what I've learned from you guys, I'm just thinking, what's the point? We're just going to be doing something else somewhere else anyway after this. You know, it doesn't end.
Who what?
What's your thoughts on
I'm not even talking about the getting trapped on Earth thing. I'm just saying that, you know, it's an endless experience. Like you might
and we're having so much fun.
You may as well indulge
it's a great time, Lauren.
I'm having fun here with you guys. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Let me know when you're in the coffee line later this morning, okay? And there's like 20 people in front of you. And there's a Karen. Let me know how you like that.
Me?
Yeah.
I'll be like, sending love and blessings.
I would not be. I've already threatened to keep someone's car this weekend, so it's okay.
I'll be doing some spirit dancing and move her out.
Seeing everyone's weakness today.
There are a few challenges, right? We need to get Amanda spirit dancing and Kylie crying. Like, what
Yeah.
else are we going to do? No, I don't mean it. I love you both. But
No, but you do
know,
mean it, and it
just
should
saying.
happen, and it will
I
happen.
do mean it. I do mean it a little bit.
We know that water is healing. Water is healing. And so something really important that we just like barely touched on is the healing component, right? And so
thanks for reminding me of that bit, Nadine. I kind of forgot that bit.
yeah, because here's the thing.
Oh, that's right. That's why I was there. That's right.
The information that comes through, while some of it may be of the physical, oh, what's my relationship like with this person, or what's going to come in, or here's what you've done, or spiritual, whatever it is, even if it's the smallest, most frivolous detail, when you sit with that and you sit with that information, you really let it settle, you start to like heal that aspect of yourself. It almost like allows you or gives you permission to accept that and to allow it and to see the beauty in it and just release it. And so, you know, when I think of, you know, both of the journeys I've had with both of you, while very different, we touched on very different things. And even though like your information, Nadine, was very much like, this is what I've seen had come up in other lives and all that stuff. Just hearing that, just seeing the end of that journey and like where I settled back in, where every bit of that is so healing to me, my soul, my body, my everything. Cause I'm like, okay, I allow it, I release it. It was an experience. It was beautiful. I understand it. And I can move past it. I don't have to be stuck in this moment. And so there is such a deep healing that happens, even if it's simply from the movement of your body or going through an assisted journey, whatever it is, all of this stuff. I mean, even this human experience is a journey. We're journeying right now, right? Because essentially it's a sleep state or dream state or, you know, the state that we claim we can't get into. And it's like everything you experience has that healing component. And if you sit in that space, man, like it could move mountains for you because you're able to just shed and release and give love. And I'll give an example of something else. Years ago, I had connected with this woman and she said to me, you're going to write down like what you want your life to look like every day. And then part of that, you're also going to write down, you're going to send love to 3 people that have hurt you. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I'm sitting there and I'm like writing down. And then I'm getting to the part where I have to write out this whole, I love you and I release you and all this stuff. And I got to this one person. It was a family member that had really hurt someone else in my family. And it like, don't come from my family and the people I love, you know, that other side of me comes out. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, who am I going to put on this list? And this person comes in. And I couldn't even on day one, I could not write down her name and send her that love. Not that I wished her ill will, but I was so upset that she had hurt somebody I loved and I couldn't do it. And then day 2 came around and day 3, and I think it was by day 4, not only was I able to send her this love and this complete, like, beautiful healing and release her, but I was able to do it in a way where I wanted to. It was easy. It completely erased all this negativity that I had in my body towards that experience. And it allowed me to realize it in a way where, you know what, it was an experience. It happened. There's whatever lesson was there for each individual who experienced it. For me, I was able to release it. And it was simply by just going into my own journey and being like, I release you, I send you love, I send you healing, I send you all this positive things, when all I wanted to do was not do that. And the simplicity of how we can step into that space is endless, but we complicate it because we also think someone else has the answer for us, right? It's easier for somebody else to do the work and get the answer for us when really just get in and do it yourself.
Can I ask what you guys think about this? Because I've been sitting here thinking about what Nadine said about being with Kylie and just having that validation and being seen. It's like someone sees me. Is that an aspect of this work where you go into that space with someone and you do this journey and you are seeing their essence, and to that you're bearing witness to their soul and their journey? And is it being that loving presence and saying, I see you energetically, that provides that healing in a way, like the connection, the seeing of the other?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In my mind, and from what I've experienced, you can't hide from anything on the other side.
Yeah.
So if you come into this saying, hey, will you help me? And you think that you're going to hide those deep, dark secrets that you thought you buried well enough 20 years ago, it's going to be there and it's going to be available to me, because everything on the other side is there, especially things that really do require healing. But I do think that's where some superpower might lie in this type of method with connecting. Is that because, I think a lot of people really do need or want healing, but those things that they try to hide the most need the most work, right? And so it's a really gentle way to, say to someone, it's okay, like, I see you. Yeah, I don't know what else to say to that. Kylie, what do you think, or Amanda?
I would just think that if I didn't have you guys as witnesses and companions, and I've said this to you separately before, I would experience all of this as delusional, and that I needed urgent medical attention. Like non-violent but vulnerable would be how I'd describe myself to the medical professionals, that kind of thing. So there's also that aspect of just grounding it in some sort of, when I say reality, I just mean in an experience that exists.
A meaningful experience. It is real. It is there. I see you. Yeah.
I hear that. I mean, sometimes when I explain my work to, say, like new clients, I do sometimes like sort of end it with, and I'm not crazy. And for the most part, the thing that I think is still quite beautiful, that I think surprises people, that I'm still in the awe of it. I still get excited when, say, I might see something and you see something, or you experience something, and I'm like, no way. You saw that? And did you see that? No way. I think, and then I go, so it's real. This stuff is actually real. I'm still in that place, and I like it. I like being in that place of wonder and discovery. I like surprises, and I like the fact that I like the fact that we get to share that, and we get to sort of share that energy. Like, I remember the time when you and I first met, Nadine, and I spoke about like Lemuria and stuff like that, and I spoke about, and then you said about the red crystals, or when you saw, like, I was in that temple, I said it wasn't. No, I said there was a time and a place whereby, as an oracle, it wasn't great for me. I was in a space and place I was in the space whereby it was very, and you described this whole place, and I was like, and I got very emotional. I said, well, how do you know that? How did you? How do you see that? Because all I can ever do is just explain it to people, but there's an emptiness on the other side, because they receive it, but they don't really, it's not really understood or felt. What people just think being an oracle is like, oh my goodness, that's huge, and that's why. But the whole experience of being taken as a child, that they actually divine where you are, where you're born, they come and they take you, and you're raised in this like kind of temple place without no family, there's no love, there's no connection, because you're raised as a pure channel. So there's nothing in life. It's a pretty shitty life. Nadine saw that. She saw the space. I think maybe you had experienced that. I think maybe we had probably both been in the same place at the same time, as separate, but in the same space, like, and it was a very, very emotional thing. I'd spoke about it for years, and to have somebody else see that she's literally talking. I think you were journeying as you were talking. And
yeah, I was
that,
definitely
like,
not in my body during that experience. It was the best way I could explain it was almost like one story, but with two storytellers. She'd start the sentence, I'd finish it. She'd start the next one, I'd finish it, vice versa, right? It was very it was kind of crazy.
It was very, very, very emotional. But you know, I just think, you know, it's beautiful what you guys do. It's phenomenal what you guys do in your work and how you do it. Magic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay, ladies, I think this is a good place to put a pin in it for now. Not for forever, but for now. What you got for us, Kylie?
All right, we're using Mysteries of Love Oracle deck today.
Ooh.
Okay, something a little bit different. So, okay. So I don't know what, now I know Jet pulled this before our discussion. Would you believe what card I pulled?
I absolutely believe
Dancing Spirit.
Shut
Dancing
up.
Spirit.
That is funny.
Boom. Well played. I'm like, what the fuck do I do with that?
Yeah.
And then he's like, just wait. Just wait. Okay, thanks, guide.
Okay,
And,
okay, darling, take the floor.
I'm gonna do my.
We could do dancing queens.
I know. Listen, we could be here all day if I get started.
Put in a bit of ABBA move.
I need a table. I need to kill it. Let's go. Emotional balance. Now, can I just talk a little bit about emotional balance? So whatever you're going through this week, okay, check yourself before you wreck yourself. If you are in an extreme wanting to keep people's cars like I am most of the day, maybe I need to emotionally balance myself a little bit. If I'm in a happy love state where I want to love everyone around me, like Lauren, maybe you need to check yourself a little bit and, you know, just have a bit of balance.
not too mean, not too nice, just in between.
Right. Not too hot, not too cold, just right.
Maybe suggest like a little bit of breathing before action.
Yeah, or dance and move your body.
Or
let that energy flow out.
Let that
does
energy
not
out.
serve you. Thank you, everybody. This concludes our episode for today. If you are interested in booking a reading, a healing, a guided meditation session, a light body activation, or simply want to say hello, head on over to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. We thank you for allowing us to create this beautiful space, and we hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.